Greetings, everyone. Happy Monday. We are back with the turning point. I'm here with Versan. We don't have Vandel and David today. They had some tasks that they had to get done. And today is going to be just me and Versan, just like in the old times when we used it to go live, just me and him. How are you doing today, Versan?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much, man. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Thanks. It's also a pleasure to be here on the turning point. Also, want to let the audience know that I got a new mic after some comments. Well, I got many mics, but unfortunately, they were not compatible with my MacBook. But finally, I got a USB one. So now I hope we're not going to get comments related to mic and also for the internet because I got
That would
the
be
two of
funny.
them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see a lot of comments already, and there's a lot of things going on. And I think we could start talking about BRICS nations. We just have Turkey, who came out on public and has said that Turkey has applied to join BRICS. And well, they have been waiting over 25 years to get on the Union European. So they have applied in 1999, and the Union European has never really accepted it. So they have been on hold for a long time. And a lot of that is related to the geopolitical tensions between Turkey, Greece, and also the Cyprus. They have some disputes with Cyprus, so there has been these tensions with Cyprus, and the Union European has always used that kind of. I'm not sure if I should use the word excuse, but they never really accepted Turkey, and now Turkey is apparently seeking new ways to establish its power. And you know that Turkey really has the potential to become a superpower. It's a huge country. Just in Istanbul, we have over 10 million people. And I think the Union European might be a bit scared of Turkey getting in BRICS. They actually trying to stop it from happening. And I would like to hear your thoughts on that, Versan. What do you think about BRICS and all the situation with Turkey right now?
Well, I'm talking to I'm preaching to the choir here. Everyone knows my thoughts on this, but the BRICS nations, their central banks, all of them, all have strategically aligned with Ripple. They've aligned with leveraging XRP to reshape the financial landscape for themselves. And I get a lot of questions from people, many skeptics. They ask, well, why the hell would the BRICS use a US-based company, missing the broader picture, in my opinion? The XRP ledger isn't just a tool for institutional control. In fact, there's limited institutional control on the XRP ledger. In fact, it does resist some centralized oversight in many key ways, and it allows for both public and private transactions to take place. And this is a feature that has been confirmed by Ripple's own announcements. In fact, we have a video on YouTube in the shorts, even on Twitter, of Brad Garlinghouse talking about this. And they've also mentioned that the XRP ledger can enable side chains for private transactions. And that just creates an unparalleled layer of privacy and security that most people don't really grasp because they haven't taken the time to understand how the technology actually works. So the appeal that the BRICS nations and institutions have with Ripple's technology really lies in XRP because it is the ability to act as a gateway for currency conversion without needing to touch on the US dollar. And that's really what this is all about. The BRICS nation is a coalition of countries that are not just trying to resist trade in dollars. They're trying to resist a lot of the societal breakdown that is associated with the American empire. You see a lot of very criminal activity in the US and criminal figures that are trying to influence this woke ideology. And not to get way down the rabbit hole, it's way too early for that, but some of the more dirty and disgusting things associated with what the US is trying to push throughout the whole world. So it's not just about financial evasion from the dollar. They're trying to avoid all the other crap that comes with it. So this is what really makes XRP a game changer, a revolutionary technology And it's designed to really consolidate the global financial landscape. And there are people out there who believe that this won't happen. And I think it's incredibly naive as they underestimate that the economic realities outside of the United States. We are a country in America of 4% of the global population, and the rest of the world is out there, having to bend the knee to us here in the West. And the people here, this is a very poor country, despite the fact that they've been sold a lie and they believe that this is the richest nation. It's a lie really designed to maintain the illusion of superiority when it's really not. So in truth, the so-called emerging markets and emerging economies and other countries out there, they call them developing nations. They're more advanced and better positioned for the future than the United States is. So back to the BRICS. It's no coincidence, it's no surprise that countries like Turkey are aligning with the BRICS. And I'm telling you guys, there are many more nations that are already doing this. They're just not making the announcement just yet. More nations are going to continue to follow, many of which I think already are quietly using Ripple's technology. We have documented evidence here, physical evidence of the Central Bank of India, the Central Bank of Brazil, Central Bank of Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and others adopting Ripple's solution. So the rest of the world is really embracing this technology while many in the US still remain blind. And they're clinging to a very dead and outdated system and other alternatives like Bitcoin. This isn't just ignorance. It's really a deliberate deception by those who actually have vested interests in maintaining the status quo. So looking ahead, I expect more nations to break away from the dollar, more nations to seek alternatives. And just for the American audience out here, I mean, if the dollar is not working for governments and it's not working for us, obviously everybody is seeking a solution, another alternative. But this shift is really driven by all the frustration with the United States, the economic and military dominance that we have. So the US has long imposed its will through conflict, through war, through death, manipulation, installing puppet governments to make other nations like weaker. And the dollar's reserve status is now collapsing. So we're witnessing a shift that's pretty much shifting the global economic order. And again, this is not just about finance and geopolitics. It's about destroying the American influence. So for those who are actually looking to protect themselves, the strategy is very clear. Vindel and I, and Edo and David, we do exactly what the 1%ers do. We just do it on a smaller scale. We hold physical gold. We secure key digital assets like XRP that are building the future and the financial infrastructure. And that's what the governments and institutions are doing. So, it's not a bad idea to just follow their footsteps, only smaller. And just on that note, add that it's also not a bad idea to look for another citizenship at this point. I really see America going into a civil war very soon because neither side of the election, whoever wins, whoever is defeated, neither side will accept defeat. I can promise you that much. So, yeah, those are my thoughts.
I would add also real estate to that list. Not very familiar with the American markets, but I'm mostly talking about if you are located in Europe. I think real estate is a great way to protect against the currency devaluation. And I want to add some more thoughts in regards to Turkey. I really think that Turkey has the potential to become a superpower. Well, I was there like 2 weeks ago. I went for Istanbul Blockchain Week, and I was just amazed. I mean, you can see so much potential. The whole country is being built. I mean, you see new construction works everywhere. You see that there is a very rich part of Istanbul that really reminds me of Dubai. So I am 100% convinced that Turkey joining BRICS is also going to open the possibility for new countries, and I think one of them is going to be now the country went from my head. Which one I was going to say? Sorry, guys, had the brain fog here, but for sure that's going to open the possibilities for new nations to join BRICS nations, and we have to understand that. I would argue that 90% of BRICS nations already tested on the XRP ledger. Just Versan last week shared one document from Russia, and we can touch on the documents that we have been sharing as well. I know Versan has some comments that he wants to make about it. However, despite Russia, I once wrote a whole thread on X where virtually every single BRICS nations back on the time. Now we are more, but when we were less nations, they were mostly testing or at least at some degree using the XRP ledger. And I think that is also an alternative for the currency devaluation that these nations have been suffering, and also the currency fluctuations. Turkey is one great spot. I mean, I just went there 2 weeks ago, and I could understand how devaluated their currency is. If you go to the ATM and you actually withdraw some cash, and I have done absolutely that. I took like 500 euros, which is the equivalent to, let's say, $530. And basically, you can't fit all of that money on the pockets because their currency is highly devaluated. So I think this also comes as an antidote for the currency devaluation. And guess what, guys? You can calculate which one is the solution for BRICS nations. They need to perform trade. They trade goods between them. So let's say Russia, Brazil, Turkey, they all have unique goods that they sell to each other. And it's a huge challenge for BRICS nations to be trading goods using their local currencies. I mean, you can do that to some degree. Russia even used gold to circumvent the US sanctions, but it's really a pain for, let's say, Brazil has the currency which is called reais, and they're going to sell goods to Turkey. And the big question is what Turkey does with that Brazilian currency. Well, that's very challenging because there's a lot of fees associated when you are doing this type of transactions between countries. And I think blockchain technology really offers the solution. And when we look to the alternatives, you have to ask yourself the right questions. And the question is which blockchain is designed for payments, which blockchain is designed for tokenization. And we all know the answer. And that's the XRP Ledger, that's Stellar blockchain. And that's absolutely not Bitcoin, Ethereum, or anything that has high transaction fees, which are just going to have the same problem that you have with fiat currencies. And right here on the screen, Versan has shared, I think that's the Russian document, right?
Yeah. So, yep, I'll let you continue, but just to give some color to
please
this.
Please go ahead and make introduction for these documents.
Yeah, well, they were testing distributed ledger technology at the Russian central bank. Look how early this goes, back to 2018. But the devil's in the detail, and that's what I told Brad Kimes on his show the other day. If you read here, and I didn't even highlight it, I'll try to put my cursor there. It says Ripple platform. They're talking about its protocol can be considered as the basis for starting work on creating a system of cross-border settlements, provided the following organizational, legal, technical issues are resolved. They're talking about Project Enbridge. Project Enbridge, it would seem, of course, we don't have all the details, and I'm speculating now, but this is healthy speculation, because it would seem that everything is being built upon the XRP ledger, including Project Enbridge. So they're obviously leveraging the XRP ledger as its foundation, and that's pretty much what the tweet is. Now, the truth is, I already knew this. I covered this a long time ago in one of my videos. Sometimes you need to reiterate things. I was also afraid that somebody would come out and claim credit for this, because I once shared this a long time ago. And that's something that's happening quite often. I got a little emotional about it last night, and I went onto YouTube and told people that there are people in this space that are really plagiarizing our work, and I'm getting really sick of it. And a lot of those people watch this show. I don't want to get off topic though, but talks about XRP being used as an equivalent for fiat currencies to be transferred. I mean, it's all out in the open. The documents are public. It's just few people in this space don't know how to put the pieces together. And that's probably your Bitcoin maxis and whatnot. So just something to share for the audience. It's just that all these countries are going to be leveraging this technology. And the fundamental question behind it is something I also talked about for a long time: stablecoins. I mean, stablecoins are the key to all of this, because stablecoins are the technologies that are going to stabilize the monetary system. And yeah, give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. So yeah, the stable coins, we saw a 50% surge last year in demand for stable coins, and that is most likely going to continue because, again, these assets are crucial for stabilizing the monetary system. They're crucial for stabilizing currencies. They're crucial for stabilizing instant settlement with liquidity. And the question then is whether, it's not whether stable coins are going to play an essential role in all of this. It becomes which technologies are going to be the ones to bridge the gap between the traditional banking and emerging digital economy. It would seem that XRP and XLM are uniquely positioned to facilitate this entire transition. You see institutions adopting these technologies because they address the key issues in the current traditional system. And that really is stability, liquidity management, settlement, and convertibility. I'd like to share a video with everybody that I put out yesterday as well. Very short. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Let's see. Right here. Okay. So this is a Harvard economist, and he's been very vocal over the last few days, and I'm trying to get him on the show. But he put out some very good information, and he's really hitting some key points in all of this. But just listen closely.
How is this going to create stability for the governments that are using it? In the first version of this Russian stablecoin, the unit, they said this is, we're following this from von Mises and Hayek and Mundell. We hate governments. The governments will have no role to play. Only we will have a role to play. And because it's crypto, we don't have any idea of what's happening. So suppose that you're an exporter to Russia and you want to get around the American sanctions, European sanctions. You'll buy cryptocoins and send your ship to Russia, and apparently nobody's going to know about this or follow it. That's pretty easy. But suppose that Russia buys something from you that is sanctioned. Okay, you're going to get a payment in this cryptocurrency. How are you going to convert this into American dollars? If the markets for these are in St. Petersburg and Moscow, then how, given the sanctions against dollars and convertibility, how are you going to get your dollars out of St. Petersburg and Moscow?
Okay, so just to touch on what he said. Now, for many people, I understand this might not be such an engaging video to watch. And believe me, this was like a good 2-hour conversation. Richard Wolff was in there. I tried to get him on the show before to answer some key questions. Couldn't get on, but he mentioned some very key issues here. The same key issues that I currently mentioned just a moment ago. Stability, liquidity management, settlement, and convertibility. You see what I mean? I mean, it's not hard to put these things together. Here's another one I want to share with everybody. And I did make a little funny statement here, is that you won't hear a peep about Bitcoin. Not one government ever, except probably the US government, which is the most corrupt, has really mentioned the Venezuelan government, which has been co-opted by puppet masters, who are mentioning the Bitcoin, which is certainly used for illicit activities. Can you make money in it? Sure. I don't really give a shit. But it's not the key technologies. They're touting one thing and they're doing something else behind closed doors. And that's pretty much what we've been trying to reveal. So listen to this one. It's very short.
None of this makes sense on the surface. And when something doesn't make sense on the surface, there's usually a good reason why the designers of this currency don't want it to make sense on the purpose. So we can look at the details of what they own say. They say it's to facilitate BRICS trade. Well, again, trade channels, they say the key highlight is that it's the gateway for the BRICS trade. But again, who owns and manages this new currency? Will it only be government officials that manage it, or what I suspect is private individuals who set up this fund on a consignment from the government, acting on their own, and the government has to leave the management to these non-government officials.
Last thing I'll touch on, and I'll let you speak. I'll give you the floor. So he mentioned a gateway. That's exactly what this is all about. XRP is a gateway to bridge currencies, stabilize them, give them the pre-funding that they needed. That's why I need to talk to this guy, fill in the blanks, right? Just get him to say XRP. That could be used. Who knows? And I have so much more to say about this, and I can go on forever, guys. So, Edo, I'd like your input.
Before, I just want to answer one question here, which I think is an interesting question. Someone asks, how many citizenships do we have? And which one are the most? Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. And I would just give a quick advice, especially if you want to KYC on exchanges and you want to avoid taxes. You can get a Palau digital ID for just $250. And that will allow you to KYC on multiple crypto exchanges, especially if you are American citizen, or in Europe you have nations that are very much against crypto, like Italy and Spain, and you can just bypass a lot of that bureaucracy by having a Palau digital ID. And it's very cheap, so you can do some research on that. I just wanted to give this person an answer. And in regards to stablecoins, it sounds like we repeat ourselves a lot, but I think we have been pioneers talking about stablecoins, right? Just 2-3 years ago, you didn't have virtually no one talking about stablecoins. It was not a very popular topic, but we were talking about stablecoins, and also the importance of stablecoins backed by tangible assets. And I think gold is something that we have to always reiterate, because nowadays it's considered to be a conspiracy theory when you mention A, stable coins backed by tangible assets, and B, digital assets backed by precious metals, or tangible assets as you wish to call it. And I think, well, I'll be publishing a video very soon, and I want everyone to understand that cryptocurrencies are a speculative space, and whoever is coming on Twitter, on YouTube, whatever channel it is, and is trying to ban people because we are speculating, that's criminal. It's a space that is a lot based on speculation, and I think it's very healthy to speculate on things. Of course, we shall not go and say 100% that's going to happen, but I'm going to put a video, and I want you guys to watch it and tell me your opinion about what you think about a gold-backed XRP specifically. In this video, I'm going to break down how that can be actually achieved, especially using the escrow feature. And how interesting is that even though XRP Ledger doesn't have smart contracts capabilities, the escrow mimics that capabilities and can actually perform very similar ways where things are automatically executed on the blockchain, just like smart contracts execute contracts on the blockchain. So that's a very interesting topic, and I would like to hear your thoughts on that first. So not specifically about XRP gold-backed, which is just a theory that I created, but gold-backed stablecoins. You see that coming on the horizon?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Well, in a world where sanctions and currency control, currency manipulation are increasingly becoming politicized, and that's what we see happening here. They conducted sanctions on Russia and other countries, and I'm speaking about the mainstream narrative now. In a world where everything is so politicized, you're either on the far left or you're just a bad guy. That's how they see it, right? This is going to continue. And as a result of that, of sanctions and currency controls, people and countries, governments, they want to get the hell out of here. They want to shift. They want to use something else. So XRP, again, I'm going to get to the gold guys, all right? But XRP offers the pathway to operate outside of the traditional constraints. Now, when I say XRP, I'm not just referring to the digital asset itself. I'm saying anything associated with XRP is going to be designed to enhance financial sovereignty. And that's really what it breaks down to. There's a big battle going on in the crypto space between decentralization advocates and the very same institutions that are trying to mold these technologies through regulations for their control to enhance and strengthen their systems. So this is where stablecoins tie into everything. Stablecoins intersect directly with the precious metals market, particularly gold. Many institutions already are buying gold, and there's a reason for that. They're not buying it just to look at it, okay? They're buying it because they are positioning themselves for the imminent and inevitable collapse of the dollar's reserve status, the dollar's purchasing power. And when that happens, governments are not going to be able to pay up their treasury, their bonds. They're not going to be able to meet those obligations. So eventually the US will be cornered into defaulting on its debt, something Martin Armstrong told me about, which is why they're going to try to take us to war. So what does this have to do really with stable coins and gold? If you can build a stable coin, this was talked about by the World Gold Council, and I have videos on this as well. DAI, thankful for him, he covered it the other day on his video. If you can build a stable coin for the central banks and multiple stable coins, not just one, that are gold backed, backed by hard assets, backed by commodities, and it has the digital representation of it for settlement capability, that is an alternative, not to mention instant liquidity. So that technology from the stablecoins, it's the seamless bridge for those who are trying to navigate outside of the dollar, including myself. I'm getting so sick of the US dollar. It's hurting me. It's really destroying my savings. It's pinching us. Can I play this video real quick? It'll be fast, guys. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I think it's important people hear this. So I did put this tweet out as well. And I really try my best to put a lot on Twitter. So if you guys aren't following me on X, please follow me. Check that out. So listen to this guy. I put this out in 2022, but this is the head of the World Gold Council. And the tweet is, the World Gold Council is aiming to revolutionize the gold market. That was in the interview. They are looking for, at the time, they were looking for a new digital stablecoin to redefine value transmission. And what's interesting, and that's why I put in here, at the time, the World Bank report claimed that XRP and XLM were the only candidates that met stablecoin classification. That was a connection. What's more interesting is that the World Bank goes hand in hand with the IMF and the International Monetary Fund. And just listen to this now. Excuse me, guys.
I think there's actually been a real stablecoin invented out there yet, but I think that we may be able to create the first ever real stablecoin with real assets backing it. And so the ultimate goal is to improve the accessibility, the transparency, the provenance, and the trust behind gold and moving gold around. And so we've got a pretty heavy initiative focused on trying to work with a broader group of the refiners, the banks, the traders, to come up with a system that is gold backed and allows us to move gold around quickly, freely, with confidence, with trust, and with transparency, and actually ultimately provide gold as an alternative to the US dollar.
Did you hear that? Gold as an alternative to the US dollar. Like I said, the devil's in the detail. It's all out there. You just got to be able to put the pieces together and help people understand it and why it plays such a key role in our investment strategy. And I'm referring to all of us, including the audience here, our community. We are a community. We have to strategize together. And that's what we're doing here. So, Edo, I'll let you take the floor.
I love how he says real stablecoin. Did you hear that as well? And back on the time, Ripple didn't even issue any comments about issuing its own stablecoin. And I have said that in the past, that the first one that's going to go out of business and that can also end up in a Black Swan event, it's Tether. So
course.
USDT is at risk, and they
Yeah.
know it, and that's why. Well, that's my speculation, my healthy speculation, that Ripple knows exactly what's going to be the final outcome for USDT Tether, and that's why they came with the solution, which happens to be a stablecoin on the XRP ledger, which is going to have a very pivotal role on the ecosystem. And I just want to point out that stablecoins, I think if you're not paying attention to stablecoins, probably you're going to regret, because stablecoins are going to play a fundamental role on the crypto space. So we're not going to have one single stablecoin, which is going to be the dominant one, but virtually, I think it's going to be dozens of stablecoins, if not hundreds of stablecoins. And I think that's really tied to why they have stacked so much gold. As you say, they are not gonna, they just didn't buy all of that gold to actually look at it, but they're gonna give this gold a role. They're gonna give this important piece on the financial system, and they have done that in the past with the gold standard. And I think it's just cycles. Governments around the world create crises, and they devaluate the currencies on purpose, and then they come with a solution which happens always to be turning back to gold. So the fact that a lot of people, especially a lot of people on the digital asset spaces, are ignoring precious metals. They think that blockchain technology is the future. Well, I do agree. I heartily agree that blockchain technology is going to play a fundamental role. However, I think that's going to be an intersection of blockchain technology with tangible assets, and I think gold is going to play a very important role on this transformation. And just, I see some comments before, and I also want to quickly address, because some people say that, and I think you have answered that, but I also want to give my comments, that because Ripple is an American company, there's no way that BRICS nations are going to embrace Ripple's technology, but they fail to understand that the XRP ledger doesn't have a political bias, meaning that the XRP ledger is really neutral, guys. You have to understand that despite the fact that it was created by Arthur Brito, David Schwartz, and Jed McCaleb, don't know how to pronounce his name. However, it's a decentralized platform. It's not controlled by the US, neither is controlled by Russia. On the other hand, as well, it's not even controlled by Ripple. Therefore, it really fits all the requirements to be the most decentralized platform, where countries can issue their own stablecoins as well, and can actually transact on the XRP ledger, also leveraging the digital asset XRP. Any extra thoughts on that, Versan? And
absolutely, I can go on forever about this. Listen, I've been connecting the dots for a very long time about this, but I see a very stupid comment in here, and I have to address it. I'm not my brother, guys. I'm going to tackle bullshit when I see it. The World Bank's definition relied on the fact that XRP and XLM's price was stable. Kind of a bullshit, really. What a stupid thing to say. First of all, if you understood how the technology works, you would understand why things aren't playing out the way they are just yet. Another thing is that precious metals have always been a safe haven for thousands of years. That's not going to change anytime soon. During times of uncertainty like now, today, we're finding that the new roll through tokenization on blockchain platforms, and all of this, I'd like to add, is still in transition. So you can't say something that hasn't even really been addressed yet. What I'm trying to say is, like, a lot of people will talk about market cap, the dumbest thing ever, because we're still facing the regulators. We're still we're fighting a battle with the regulations, the regulators, and they haven't set the stage for what is going to play out the way I'm telling you it's going to. This is how it's going to unfold in real time. We've been right for 4 years now, and we've been healthy speculating based on the data we already have. The reason the price is not stable at the moment is because it's being manipulated. Do you remember what happened with the bearable bull in 2021 or 2022 when all those millionaire YouTubers got together and they decided to buy the price of XRP at one time, and then the price went down, proving that it was manipulated, that it was being... And even Stuart Alderati came into the SEC office when they slapped the lawsuit on Ripple, and they established nodes on the XRP ledger to keep the price manipulated for a certain time frame. People don't know the facts. So there are a lot of idiots in this space, and it's very important to recognize that. It really is, okay? And I don't deal with these people. I really just ignore them. I try to, but when it's sitting right here in my face, I told you to take the comments out so I don't have to read these comments, but I'm telling you guys, people are clueless. They really are. They don't understand pretty much how this technology is being integrated, how it's being leveraged. Okay. So there are DLTs out there who's supporting XRP, XLM, and HBAR. These are enhancing the connection through interoperability and stablecoins. The technologies are going to enable precious metals to be more accessible, convertible, tradable, liquid, which links the physical world of assets. That's where the logo even came from, the triskelion, the interconnection between the real, the digital, and the crypto of what's happening. It's a complementary relationship, one that actually allows investors to hold on to something tangible while still benefiting from the speed and transparency of blockchain. This is a blend that most people don't understand, how it's reshaping the way people who are forward thinkers, they're rethinking the way of wealth protection, how to grow in this space in a rapidly changing environment. My advice personally, for those who buy precious metals, hold the real stuff, always hold the physical metals. And going back to Dennis, critics who say that RLUSD is going to replace XRP are absolutely uninformed and missing the point. XRP is a key player in this because everything is being built, including the real USD stablecoin, is being built upon the XRP ledger. So where is it driving, and where is it deriving its liquidity from? Where's the liquidity coming from necessary for all these stablecoins, even gold-backed ones, when they come out into fruition? I'm telling you, people don't understand the technology, you know, and this is exactly why, when you do understand it, you understand that the XRP cannot be replaced. And then I love what you said earlier, Edo. It has no political bias. That's a fact that's so important. People are stupid, man. I'm telling you. And I'm not talking to our audience here. I'm talking about all these guys out there. There's going to be a lot of people putting noise out. And I'm just so sick of it. I really am. You know? It's very toxic.
Just to reiterate, yeah, it's very sad that a lot of people are sometimes even twisting our own words and trying to censor a lot of things that we put out on X. You know, there is a whole
yeah, it's toxic. It really is.
People.
I'm starting to understand that now.
But, you know, we focus on the facts, we focus on the truth, and everything we present is also always backed, usually by documents, just by the World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, the IMF. And I think a lot of people fail to understand that they are not trying to tell the public. These documents are not meant for the average Joe. These documents are presentations for bankers, as I pointed out in the past. And I think there is a lot of misunderstandings, especially when people are thinking that XRP is going to be replaced by Ripple stablecoin.
No,
I think
it's not.
that's the most.
Yeah, everything's being built around it.
Yeah. And well, lately, you mentioned the XRP price manipulation. Well, there are so many occasions where the price was manipulated. Well, they have trading boots, that's normal, and digital assets, but XRP is highly manipulated. You all remember when the SEC lawsuit, when the news came out for the SEC lawsuit and XRP dropped below 16 cents? And then we had this massive news of the end of the SEC lawsuit, which in my opinion is just nice, but it didn't make anything for the price either. So how do you explain that if they are dropping the lawsuit, the price plummets like 70%, but when there's a massive win, the price doesn't correspond it. So I think there is a lot of suppression as well in regards to XRP price. And that's what we have been saying. You need to have patience, and you have to understand that this is a piece of it's a piece of infrastructure that is going to run the new financial system. So you just need to be patient and don't focus on the noise. That's my most important message today, I think.
Yeah, and I want to clarify, you know, for the whole audience here, it's like, I love our community. I really do. It's just, and I don't think anyone's stupid. Okay. It's just, there are other people out there who are trying to come in here and distort the reality of the situation, the reality of the facts. You're going to see a lot of these people out there, and it's simple. It's because what I'm trying to tell the audience is that people are reading off headlines and getting their news that way. That's not what Vendel and I did. We spent 2 years reading documents directly from the institutions. We brought people on the show to ask them, what does this mean on and off record? So we were able to narrow it down to how this really made sense, and we had the confidence to really begin asking different kind of questions. So to touch on what you said, and this is very important, guys, this is all about, let's start with the SEC lawsuit. Absolutely unnecessary, absolutely there's nothing to talk about there. People are just looking for clicks and monetization. Okay. Appeal. What appeal? The facts and laws have been on our side the whole time. XRP was deemed not a security. We won the lawsuit. $1 million fine, $125 million fine. Who gives a shit? Look what happened with the internet. And that's why I love history, guys. I always listen to history. If you go back into history and you look at the .com bubble, all right, there were so many lawsuits, regulators, intervention, and then it just happened. It still happened. Look where we are today. The same thing is happening again. It's just noise to sway people away from their investments. This is all about the internet of value. Some people call this the finternet. It's still really under the radar by most people, even within the crypto community. It's not complexity. There's a gap in education and awareness of how these things are playing out. And let me tell you something, the institutions and major players, they're not exactly broadcasting their plans for the whole world to see. And for good reason. They want control. And the less people know, the smoother the transition will be. And very few people are going to see these systems go live as the 1% are watching it. Okay. We just mimic what they're doing, only smaller. Now, it's no surprise that many investors in the space are focused on short-term gains and without understanding the bigger picture of how these assets like XRP, XLM, HBAR, and a few others, solving real-world problems, and others are being integrated into the backbone of what is to be, what's coming. This isn't a conspiracy, right? It's more about timing and control. Now, I promise you this much, and this is my final message. I got another call in 20 minutes. Once these systems go live, or ready to go live, and remember, they've been setting the stage, ladies and gentlemen. We've all been following this together, right? The narrative will shift so fast. You're gonna crap your pants, all right? It's gonna be so fast. And you're going to be like, wow, this is exactly what we've all been talking about. It's going to shift so quick. And from what was really quietly being built into the background and the layout will suddenly seem so inevitable. And it will happen very fast like that. One more thing I should say. Somebody asked about the citizenship. I have a U.S. citizenship and I have a Saudi citizenship, Saudi Arabia. And this is why I tell some of my clients in my sessions in our contingency plan about how to leave the US once this all comes into fruition. Because we have a strategy. We tell people to get out of a burning castle. It's very important that you do look for another citizenship because this country is going to be in a civil war. And even those people who are all for the White Hat Alliance, and you know what I'm talking about, guys, they have told me that even if that does play out in real time with Trump and whatnot, there's still going to be a civil war. You have too many people on both sides that are not going to accept defeat. I promise you this. So there are a few countries out there that do have some resist from the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum. One of them is Monaco. It's very expensive, though. And Bahrain is a great one. It's outside of Saudi Arabia. It's a great banking hub. My mother, she's in international real estate. So I've asked her also over the last 2 years to go look and help us carry her weight and help us find some solutions for us to leave the country when we need to. The US citizenship is becoming more of a liability than it used to be, like an asset. When you paid less tax, when you had a stronger currency, when you had more opportunity, these things are gone. Why would you hold on to it? So I think it's a way to strategize to get out of here. And something else I'd like to note, and I follow a lot of what the banks actually put into motion, their laws. Senator Warren, and she works on the Senate Banking Committee, the corrupt institutions, JP Morgan, Vanguard, BlackRock, et cetera, Goldman Sachs. And they're putting laws into place to make it more expensive for you to relinquish your U.S. citizenship. Well, why would they do that? Why would they charge you to relinquish your citizenship and raise the price? It's like they know something's coming. Well, it ties into another law that they put into place, and nobody paid attention to it. No one said anything about it. And we talked about it on one of the podcasts very briefly, that when the US faces a debt crisis and we get cornered, the US government can force all American citizens, their 401ks, their Social Security, their retirement, to buy up all the bonds that the government is defaulting on. And they're buying gold. So who's left holding the bag? These are things people need to ask themselves. So sure, we can make money from crypto and investing in the technologies, but what happens when this really runs into a wall and collapses in on itself and implodes on itself? Who's going to be the one holding the bag? It's the American people. These are things you got to think about. So have a contingency plan to get out of the country. I'm serious. I got to call in like 10 minutes, man. So yeah.
Yeah,
And I want to
totally agree on
apologize
what you
for being a
said.
little frustrated today. I just have a very busy schedule and I'm not in the best mood right now.
Don't
So
worry, Hassan. We totally understand your point, man. And yeah, thanks for the audience. We're gonna end a bit before today. It's just me and Versan, so we had more time to cover the topics. And just as a side note, you can also get in Europe, you have great alternatives here for the Golden Visa. So if you are an American citizen, you can look that up on the internet. It's quite simple. Just need to do investment in real estate. And wow, Greece is a great solution. I'm waiting for you here, Versan. You are welcome. And
I
Greece is
talked to you
really
about
not
that.
outside the,
I was
I
considering it.
promise you guys, Greece, it's very great. It's pretty much out of the system, and you don't have to deal with a lot of the bureaucracy, especially someone like me that has I'm Italian citizenship. So Italy is not very friendly right now in terms of freedom, in terms of taxation as well. I don't want to have nothing to do with Italy. And I think Greece is playing a very important role for me. So if anyone needs more information, you can always send me a DM. And well, in regards to my final thoughts today, I would say, please, everyone have patience. Understand that you don't expect the financial system to change overnight. They have been building this for over, I would say, I was going to say hundreds of years, but let me be more conservative, for at least a decade. So you need to understand that everything is already built. Most of the infrastructure is ready to roll on. And when they decide literally to flip the switch, it's going to be fast. So you want to be positioned. You want to not be disappointed later on when the things start to move. And you understand that you fail to position yourself. So please, everyone, have patience and understand that these things can take time, but once it happens, it's going to be fast. Last comments, I would say be very careful with scammers. There's so many crypto scams now, fake accounts. Every week someone texts me, I got scammed. But ultimately, don't click any links if you don't trust whoever sent you the link. Don't trust fake accounts of ourselves that are going to reply to YouTube comments. They're going to send you DMs on X. They're going to try everything. And the more the economy is actually falling apart and the more inflation is eating the savings, and people are just losing the moral values, and they are trying everything they can to actually make some extra income. So please be very mindful of that. And we're going to see you guys next week on the Turning Point. Something else you want to add, Jason?
Yeah, I just want to apologize. I did lose my temper a bit, but I lost my temper because I work so hard, guys. I really do. I work so hard with my brother, and I'm on calls all day. I'm researching. I don't get really any time to myself to go really only go to the park and enjoy the weather. And that's it, just to contemplate what I've researched. So it's disheartening when people are claiming what we've been talking about for years and publicly put it out there and call it breaking news. That's not right, guys. So I just had to put that out there, and I apologize. So thank you guys for all your support and everything. But yeah, it's nothing against the community here, right? So just keep fighting the fight and we're going to be okay. So we'll talk on Monday, all right?
Thank you. We had over 2,000 people live, so it has been a pleasure to have you guys. Thank you, everyone. And we're going to see you all on Monday. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.